Aloha, what's up everybody? I'm JayDreamerZ. Welcome to another episode of Ancient Oblivion, the Plasma Apocalypse. Today we're going to be focusing on the return of the purple skies. Our skies across the world are all going to turn purple very soon whenever we have the kickoff of the Plasma Apocalypse. This harkens back to an ancient time whenever the skies everywhere across the world had already changed colors. We go through different color spectrum shifts in this world, and today we're going to focus on the first color to appear, which is royal purple. And I'll tell you the reason why the royals use the color purple and what to expect with these wine dark seas that are talked about by Homer and many other things, getting into Prince's song, Purple Rain, the Purple People Eater, and much more. Stay tuned as we jump into the return of the purple skies and talk about the Plasma Apocalypse.
Come.
All right, so thanks for joining me, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Today, we're going to dive into the Plasma Apocalypse and what to expect towards the end of time, or towards the end of time as we know it, and the cycle that we currently are in and living through. We go through shifts, we go through periods, ages, and epochs that I just simply like to refer to as cycles. As a part of these cycles, if we look back in history, we can be more prepared for what is on the way, because the same similar events keep happening over and over and over again. One of those things is the color of our sky. I've pointed out many different times that the sun itself has changed color. Let me know in the chat if you guys have noticed that the sun has changed color from yellow to white. So I'm building a bridge right now so that we can get to the purple skies. And how could the skies across the world turn purple, right? Well, if you can understand that the sun itself, the focal point up there in the heavens that we call the sun, changes colors and has recently changed colors, and it doesn't take a very long time for these things to happen, then we can build a bridge to understanding how the colors in our entire world, the very sky itself, the ground, the ocean, the people, and the animals, and how they all look, all have changed colors over time, beginning with the first color to appear, which is purple. So I want to give a shout out to my brother, by the way, Straight Jacket White Rabbit. He's actually premiering a video right now at the same time. Feel free to go to his channel. I've got a link for it on my main page and check it out. He's doing Cursed Lands Part 3. His other Cursed Lands videos were very good, so I'm actually going to go check that out as soon as I'm done live streaming here. And I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who have influenced my research and helped me in taking their research and adding it to the collective of my own, so that I can put the puzzle pieces together a little faster and a little better to see the bigger picture. One of those people is going to be Troy D. McLaughlin. Or McLaughlin. He used to have a website called the SaturnDeathCult.com. I used to frequent this website, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago or something, and I learned all about what he described as the purple dawn of creation. And he's an author, and I highly recommend checking out his books as well. His cosmology is more of a modern cosmology, and it's similar, I would say, if I had to compare it to something, to the electric universe theory, which I also like. The Thunderbolts Project, Electric Universe, those guys helped to pave the way for my own unique ideas and theories on the plasma apocalypse. So him and Greg J on YouTube also does pretty good work on this exact same topic. He talks about different things as well, but he's got some pretty good videos that go over the topic of the Purple Dawn and the Purple Dawn theory, especially, you know, that rose up out of the books by Troy McLaughlin. So over on Troy McLaughlin's website, he had talked about how in antiquity, or during the very beginning of time, that the ancients described that there was this sort of purple hue or purple haze to the entire earth. Everything was purple. And right along with that was vaporous conditions the world across. So we have a combination of the vapor canopy, which many people, especially those in the Christian community, have already sort of accepted that our entire sky, our atmosphere was just very vaporous. There was a fog, a mist that was spread across the world in antiquity. And if we combine that with this Kool-Aid purple color, we now have the purple dawn, the beginning, the first color. Now, why? Why was purple the first color to emerge in this cycle? Remember, these are all cycles, right? So in the very beginning, everything is black. Everything goes dark. The sun stops creating its light. There's different reasons for that, which I won't go into right now, but the sun will turn off. And we don't need the sun in order to live. The sun is helpful in certain ways, but it's also going to become very destructive. So believe me when I say you'll be thankful when the sun does turn off, because it's going to turn blue and start burning and scorching the earth. How does this happen? So we go through color spectrum shifts, and the first color to emerge is purple. That's after the blackness. That's after the moon goes away, the stars turn off, the sun stops giving it its light. And these are all prophecies from religion to religion and across time. I'm not the first person by any means to say that the sun would stop giving its light. This has been talked about time and time again in these cycles for thousands and thousands of years, and it's happened many different times. Now, this purple light, the light in the beginning, the light appears out of the darkness, out of the primordial void. Why is that light purple? That's what we're going to focus on now, and I'll tell you the science behind it. I won't just speculate, and I won't just say, oh, it was purple in the beginning, and this is, coming from my gut. It's my intuition, and the myths say it was purple, so it was purple. Let's go over the science behind it, okay? Now, the color comes from gas. All of the light that we have in the sky that comes from the sun and the moon and stuff, the colors of these lights are dependent upon the gases or the medium that light passes through, or the gases and the ionization of those gases. For example, you can see right here, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. These are the colors that they change when you run an electrical current through them. So when you ionize or run electricity through certain gases, those gases have a signature color that they will change to. This one right here is argon. Argon is going to be the focus of this presentation, and the primary reason why the sky changes purple. But let me just check on the chat real quick. I want to make sure, since I'm a live streamer, everything looks good and sounds good. Seeklight McDonald hooked me up with a $2 donation. Thank you, Seeklight. I appreciate you. All right, cool. Looks good. A lot of people are coming in right now. Welcome to the live stream, everyone. And if you're watching in the future, when this is no longer a live stream, I hope that you'll leave me some of your thoughts in the comments section and tell me, how this video may have impacted you or helped you out in some way. All right, so let's get back to argon. That's what we're going to talk about, okay? Now, we have different gases in the air that we breathe. Many people, we're not really educated on all of the different gases and stuff, and many people are very unaware that oxygen is not the primary gas that we breathe down here on the surface world, where all of the gases are mixed up, and they're all mixed up or homogenized because of the winds that are blowing around. Those winds are mixing up all of the gases. They mix up the gases that come up from within the earth, They mix up the gases that are just latent from the surface, and then the gases that are just above us in the upper atmosphere. They're just mixing them all up. So that's what we call air. The primary gases that comprise air, that make up air, are oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and argon. Now, each one of those gases has a certain weight to it, we'll say. So when they rise up in the atmosphere, after they get past all of those winds, they start to layer out. So we have these layers of gases in the upper atmosphere because some are lighter than others. And the lighter ones, like helium, will start to rise up higher and higher, and hydrogen will go even higher and higher. But the heavier ones will stay towards the bottom. It's the same concept as liquids. It's the same thing. If you have a big liquid container and you have milk in it and oil in it and water in it and sand in it, they will all layer out as long as you don't shake them up, right? So gases are the same exact thing. They do the same thing in our atmosphere as long as they're not being mixed up. So the heavier gases will be on the bottom. But how do gases know which way is up and which way is down? Have you ever asked yourself that question? I have, right? So I'm going to explain the gases that are released from inside of the Earth and how we see those gases manifest as light when they explode up through the cracks and the crevices across the world and become huge pillars and beams and columns of creation. The pillars of the Earth. They spread out as they go up and they become the framework for the architecture of the Earth that seems to be holding up the very sky itself. They become birds of creation spreading their wings. They become savior-like figures that are hanging on a world tree or on a world axis or on crossbeams or poles and pillars and columns and all of these things, right? So inside of the Earth, we have a lot of different gases that are being created, similar gases to what we have up here on the surface, but much more so. The Earth creates its own gases. They don't come from space. They don't come from fireballs from the heavens or meteorites or comets or anything like that. The Earth is what creates everything that is in the Earth. The Earth creates life and life forms. It creates all of the gases. It creates plasmas, all of it. So it's creating a massive amount of gases inside of the Earth right now. Oxygen, nitrogen, argon, and carbon dioxide. Now, each one of these gases will either be attracted to a strong magnetic field, and that's called paramagnetism, when it's attracted to or goes towards a strong magnetic field, right? Oxygen is paramagnetic. So let's say my microphone right here is a neodymium super strong magnet, and I had a bunch of pure oxygen. It would actually lean towards or gravitate towards my microphone. It would be attracted to it. And once it got there, it would stop. It would hang out right over the surface of my microphone. The other gases, argon, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide, are diamagnetic. Diamagnetic means repelled by a strong magnetic force. So those would float away from. They would be repelled by the magnet itself. The Earth is a giant magnet. The Earth produces an extremely strong magnetic field. Now, keep in mind, this is an ancient cosmological view. This is my own cosmological view, and this is not what modern-day academics will teach people. They will teach people that the Earth's magnetic field is actually very weak, and especially in comparison to, a regular magnet on the Earth or whatever. But it's not. The further down you go, that magnetic field wraps all the way around the surface. It goes up into the heavens, all the way up into the sky. And that magnetic field is so strong, it is pressurizing our atmosphere. That is why we have pressure systems. That is why we have weather and weather patterns and stuff, because that magnetic field that goes up and over as a dome above the Earth is keeping all of those gases in. It is not the dome, the physical dome, which I believe to be made out of frozen gases or ice. It is not that physical portion of it that is pressurizing our world. It is the magnetic portion, the invisible quality, that is holding in all of those billions of pounds of atmosphere. Okay? That's important to know, especially when we start to realize how these apocalyptic cycles happen. But equally, just like there are gases up above us in the upper atmosphere, and there is a magnetic dome or a magnetic shield above us that is keeping those gases in, with the exception of oxygen, which is attracted to that, and it would stay right there. That same magnetic field travels under the Earth and goes underneath our feet, far down into the surface world. So those inner Earth gases are also being kept in and pressurized. Okay, so anything below that magnetic field is being held back or held down within the bowels of the Earth, or you could say the hollow Earth portion. Now, whenever that magnetic field releases, okay, you're going to have all of these gases shooting up into the upper atmosphere, or I'm sorry, in the inner Earth, you'll have these gases shooting up through the cracks and through the crevices. They will be released. And all of those gases are going to rush up through volcanoes and through cave systems and through openings in the earth, different openings, sinkholes and everything that's going to happen. There's going to be a lot more sinkholes happening. And they're going to rush through at such speeds, and they'll be squished together by all the cracks and those crevices with not a lot of space to push all of those gases. So they will become ionized. They will become electrified through static electricity. And all of those gases will become plasma, which means they will become light. And the earth people during this time will see pillars and columns and beams of light shooting all the way up from the ground, all the way up to the sky. Many people who research this particular topic believe it's the opposite. And it's because their modern views, their modern cosmology, which is given to us by academics, teaches us the opposite. They teach us that there is outer space out there and that the planets must be zapping the Earth, and therefore these thunderbolts of the gods are coming down from some ancient planet and striking the Earth, when it's actually the opposite. It is the Earth releasing energy, and they are traveling upwards to the very dome itself. I'll talk about that shape up in the sky too in just a bit. That's basically Saturn, that's Kronos, that's Nibiru, and I'll tell you exactly what all that stuff is. All right, so these gases, so argon, let's talk about argon. Let's get back to argon, right? Argon is the most repelled by a strong magnetic force. So what that means is it's going to try to get away, the furthest away from that bottom magnetic field that goes under our feet. So it's going to be the furthest away from it because it's the most repelled by the magnetic force of the Earth, which means argon will be the first gas that comes up out of the Earth. That's important because argon, when it's ionized, when it's rushing through and all that static electricity rushes through those gases, it will change it that color. It will turn it purple. And those beams of light that first emerge will be purple beams of light. There will be ionized argon gas, and the gases will shoot up as these purple columns and pillars and beams. And that's during a time when the sun has just disappeared and the moon will not give its light. So our entire sky will be filled with all of these purple lights that are shooting up from the Earth itself, rising up and illuminating the firmament, the heavens above. Now, the heavens above us are going to crack open, and our atmosphere up here is going to depressurize for a short amount of time. When that happens, we will have that rapid depressurization of our atmosphere will cause the very air itself to expand, lose its moisture, and will become very misty, and you'll have the purple dawn of creation and the vapor canopy returning to this world. And everything will be like Avatar in the movie Avatar. You'll even have strange creatures that will come up from the inner earth, and some possibly dropping down from the heavens beyond outside of the dome as they float down into this world, because buoyancy will be increased, so they're not going to fall down and die or anything. But this is exactly what you will see. You'll see purple beams of light. And this is the reason why royalty today uses the color purple to represent nobility. It's because they're telling you symbolically through this color that that is their color, that they are the victors, that they are the survivors, that they are the leftovers or the Nemo from this time. From the time whenever the earth turned purple, they're from the beginning. That's what they're trying to say by wearing all of this purple. That has nothing to do with snails in the Mediterranean and some pigment that they had, like as if they couldn't mix red and blue in the ancient world and make purple. Okay. This was altogether different. It was the purple dawn. It was the beginning of time. And the nobles of the world, or the kings and queens and presidents and all that stuff who wear purple, they are wearing it to declare this is our flag. This is our place where we are from. This is our color. We're from the very beginning. We survived that last apocalyptic cycle. And if not them, then they're paying homage to their very bloodline. They're paying homage to their families who did survive and then procreated, and then, they inherited the kingdoms of the earth over time, but they still pay homage to that time when the skies were purple at the very beginning, meaning that they survived the last apocalyptic cycle. They're from the time before it was actually purple. Now, you'll see over here, I'll probably comment as we go, these ocean color, where the ocean was described in antiquity, specifically by the author known as Homer in his works, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Okay. He talks about the color that the ocean was. He never once, and many other authors in antiquity, but Homer is a particular interest to me. He never once describes the ocean as being blue or the sky as being blue. He describes it as being wine dark, that the seas were wine dark. Wine is purple or reddish or a purplish red color because it comes from grapes. It's just the same color as any kind of grape juice, right? Usually a reddish or a purplish color. The oceans are only orange. I mean, I said orange because I just saw orange. The oceans were only purple or a reddish color because they're reflecting the light that is above it. They were dark, purple and reddish in color. And when they looked out at those ancient seas, the surface of it was just reflecting the purple skies and sometimes the red skies. So I want you to take a look at this. This right here is a sodium vapor lamp. So it's ionizing the sodium vapor, and you can see the colors that it first changes. There's a purple flash right there in the beginning. This is a small scale example of what our world is going to do. The reason it turns purple in that sodium vapor lamp is because there's a little bit of argon in there. And that argon is the first thing to light up, so it flashes purple. We will also have a purple flash in the apocalypse at the beginning of time, or the end of time, however you'd like to see it. Our flash is going to last for years and years and years. It's not going to be real quick like this tiny little object you see over here, because this is a worldwide event. So when we scale it up, it's going to be much slower as we have this purple flash and everything glows this purple color. After all of that argon has left the inner earth and it has been spent up and used, the next gas in line will come up. The next gas being nitrogen. And nitrogen also glows a sort of pinkish, bluish color. So you'll see the purple fade and it'll go more into a lighter color. Okay. And then after that, the nitrogen will go up. Oxygen will be the last one. So we'll have carbon dioxide. That's more of a white, a light blue to a white color whenever it ionizes. So all of these pillars and beams that are rising up into the heavens are going to go through their own color phase transitions. Okay. It'll start with this one, and then it'll transition more into, like a lighter purple color, and then more of a whitish purpley blue, and then finally a strong blue color, as oxygen being the last one because it's attracted to that magnetic field way down at the bottom, right? It's all released at the very end, and the world goes through what's known today as a great oxidation event, and our atmosphere will be flooded with fresh, abundant oxygen the world across. Now that oxygen is going to have an effect on the creatures and the plants and the people that all live here. So we will have purplish, reddish skies, right? There's other things that will contribute to the colors of the sky itself. There will be other plasmas, from the cosmos that come in from beyond the dome and stuff. So there's going to be all kinds of different colors. It's not just going to be one color, but there will be primary colors that the world will turn, that the sky will turn. Right? So oxygen will be the last one. Oxygen ionizes blue almost every time, true blue. Okay? So people will finally see these blue beams of light, which represents goodness and purity and the golden age that will be restored to us as the skies start transitioning from purple to reddish to golden color, like you saw in that sodium vapor lamp. There will be sodium in the air along with vapor, as we talked about, right? There will be vaporous conditions in the atmosphere because of that rapid depressurization of the atmosphere. So there will be vapor all the way across. There will be a vapor canopy. There will be mist all the way across the world, right? Some people might see it as like smoke, clouds, mist, however you want to see it. But because the oceans are also going to float up into the sky, because rapid depressurization will increase buoyancy for a period, all of the water on Earth, especially the oceans, are they going to just float up into the sky as they get sucked out of the firmament itself. Now, when that happens, electrolysis will separate the sodium that is in the salt water from the water itself. And that sodium will also ionize, which will give us sort of that traditional post-apocalyptic orange-colored sky that we see so often in movies and science fiction and stuff like that, right? So that's why I showed you that sodium vapor lamp, and how when it turns on, it flashes, it uses up all the argon, gives us a purple flash, then it transitions more into a deep red color, and then it finally settles into that golden age, or that golden orange-colored sky, which is what we will experience as well. I want to touch on a few other things too. Let's see. So we talked about Homer and how he described the oceans as being wine dark. Nowhere in antiquity will you hear, if you go far back enough, nobody says that the ocean is blue. Okay, they all say that it will be red color. The Purple People Eater, I might as well talk about that one. So there's a song called The Purple People Eater. Let me bring up the lyrics here. They say that this creature is supposed to be this whimsical children's song, but all the nursery rhymes, Humpty Dumpty, Ring Around the Rosie, we know that they have substance. That's just, we forgot the meaning of them. The meaning of these nursery rhymes has been lost. The reason that they were given rhymes to children was so it was easier for children to remember the historic events that had happened. In antiquity, they used to have the Hebrew people sing the Torah. They would turn the Torah, or the Old Testament, into a song. Why? Because when you start rhyming stuff, or when you turn it into a song, you can memorize it so much easier. That's called a mnemonic device, and it makes it much easier to memorize things that otherwise might be kind of hard to memorize. So the one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater was turned into a children's song, and it's not gibberish. It's not just a meaningless, stupid song about some made-up creature. It's real. It's just as real as the spaghetti monster, which is just all of those plasma filaments that come through the opening in the sky, snaking their way down like spaghetti coming down into this world. That's what that is. Okay, there's a reality to all of the things that you thought were fiction, that you thought were science fiction and sci-fi and just stories made up. Every single one of them is of interest, and it impacts us because it's real. It's based and grounded in substance and reality. So here's the lyrics. Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had one long horn and one big eye. So whatever the flying purple people eater is, it's coming down from the sky. It's up there in the sky itself. It's represented by having one eye. So it's like an eyeball, a gigantic eyeball in the sky itself. It's got a horn. It's got an eye, and you'll see pictures up here. Actually, let me see if I can find one real quick. I'll just cycle through some of these. Okay, so this is a good example. So that circle right there in the middle is the one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater, okay? That is a portion of the firmament that hangs down like a bowl above us, and it looks like an eyeball. So this is where the one-eye symbolism comes from, across the board. Every time when you see the one-eye symbolism, that's this. Right there. That's the one-eyed, one-horned. See how like the plasma that's shooting up from the earth touches it? It looks like it has one horn. One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. Now, why is it called a people eater? Well, it's purple, right? In different communities, they believe that that's Saturn, okay? That these are planets, and that the planets are aligning, and this is Saturn, and this is Venus, and this is Mars, right there. I don't have that same cosmological view. I believe all of these things that you're looking at are the firmament, Okay, this is the apex dome of the firmament. It was drawn in antiquity thousands of times, but people today don't recognize it. We're not aware of it. We're not taught about the firmament and the structure of it and what it's shaped like and the portion of it that droops down like Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall, right? But this is the one eye in the sky, one horn that goes down to the earth, or comes up from the earth, I should say. And it's a people eater. Now it's purple, so people would say this is Saturn, and they would say, "Oh, that's the brown dwarf," when Saturn was a brown dwarf. Brown dwarfs, even in modern academics, are not brown. They are purple. They are purple-colored planets out there, or whatever. So it's a purple people eater. Why is it a people eater? Because when this object is first seen, the atmosphere has just depressurized through a hole that opens up right in the middle of this thing's eye, in the iris, in the dark part. That's where all those gases in our atmosphere rush to whenever that magnetic field disappears and it's no longer holding them in. Those gases will puncture a hole in the frozen oxygen that I call the dome above us. And when that happens, Archimedes' principle states that however much atmosphere escapes, however many billions of pounds, will be equal to the same number of billions of pounds of buoyancy that will increase in the atmosphere all around you. What does that mean? That means you will float. That means people will float up into the heavens, up into the sky. So will animals, so will objects and debris, whatever is not securely fashioned to the earth, or fastened to the earth, will float up into the heavens. Okay, so back to the Flying Purple People Eater song. I'm just going to let these pictures play while I read this here. I commenced to shaken and I said, ooh-wee, it looks like a purple people eater to me. So whatever he sees in the sky is scaring him. That's how big this is. When people see this, this is right above the North Pole. Okay, it will always be there. This is a constant star. This is the pole star in antiquity. It does not move. It has cycles where the light might crescent like our moon does and stuff, but it doesn't move. It stays in the same place time and time again. It also kind of resembles like certain rock album covers and stuff like that, which is appropriate because the Purple People Eater is said to have inspired rock music. All right, so he says it was a one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater, and he just repeats that over and over. He says it sure looks strange. He came down to Earth and he laid in a tree. So the flying purple people eater laid down in a tree. That is the tree of life. That is this beam, this pillar, this column right here, and it's called the world tree, the axis mundi. So this purple people eater its rightful place is sitting in this tree. Okay. I said, Mr. Purple. Oh, he said it laid down in a tree. I heard him say in a voice so gruff, I wouldn't eat you because you're so tough. So there's certain things that it won't eat or get sucked up into the heavens. I said, Mr. Purple People Eater, what's your line? He said, eatin' purple people and it sure is fine. But that's not the reason that I came to the land. I want to get a job in a rock and roll band. So he talks about eating purple people, and it's appropriate that it shows this Katy Perry. This is from her music video, Extraterrestrial. She's sort of this white color as she's sort of morphing into this alien creature, but you can see that there's like purple and blue all over her face, just like the creatures or people in Avatar who live on Pandora, which is a similar world to that, sort of this bluish, purplish kind of a world, right? In the movie Avatar, I don't have any examples. I think I do have an example here of like, there's a creature from Avatar, right? Now, that creature is not purple. You can see the light is purple everywhere. The bluish purple light. It might have parts of it that sort of light up like it's under a black light, which is what Saturn is, which is what that apex dome does. That apex dome glows like a strong red color. You mix that with the purple color of these beams, and it's going to reflect off of the skin of all of these different creatures. Let me see if I can find the Avatar girl here. Oh, you know what? I don't know. I might. There we go. So anyways, our world looks like this in the time to come. Our world used to look like this in times past. This is the world of Pandora, or the world of Avatar. These are not jellyfish that are just floating in the sky for no reason. These are sprites. These are electromagnetic phenomenon that are being cartoonified as creatures in the movies because people don't really know what they actually are. So they cartoonify them. They associate them with whatever they look like. Just in the same way that people look at a cloud and say it looks like a zebra or whatever. You know what I mean? So, Flying Purple People Eater. He says, well, bless my soul, rock and roll, Flying Purple People Eater, pigeon-toed, undergrowed, Flying Purple People Eater. Now the Purple People Eater has pigeon toes. This is interesting because I talk about how, due to this high levels of radioactivity that will exist in our world from cosmic plasmas that come down into this world as the firmament breaks open, it's going to mutate stuff. Okay, those plasmas have the power. Those ionized gases, they carry X-rays, gamma rays, and other types that can mutate humans and animals. So if you're in one of those dangerous areas, people can become mutated. And I just posted a video on my Instagram that talks about this symbol that you see in paintings all over the place, and sometimes this symbol that you see in Star Trek and Jewish folklore and stuff like that. They are showing you mutations. The ancient people of the old world went through serious mutations that are reflected back to us during the medieval times. When we look at actual pictures and maps of people, entire tribes, entire nations of people who were mutated physically, and they gave birth to little baby mutants that had the same genetic mutation as they passed that on to their children. I was just in Washington, D.C. when I went through the National Archives. I got a library card at the National Library of Congress, and I went in there and requested the oldest maps that they had on record. And I sat down and handled them with my own hands using magnifying glasses, being very careful. I was looking at Mercator maps and other maps from the Dark Ages and the Middle Ages, and I came across many different maps that had just mutants all over them. It was not just folklore. It wasn't just myth and legend. Stay away from there. There's weird people over there, and they're Mexicans, but we don't know what those are yet. Or they're Japanese, and we don't know what those are yet. No. They were drawing mutated human beings. The mutations come from these plasmas. The mutations come from plasmas that come from the Earth itself in specific areas, and from the cosmos as they come down into this world. So when it talks about how the Flying Purple People Eater is pigeon-toed, that's a subtle reference to mutations in the people. But it's also a reference to the plasmas. There's more than just one beam of plasma. There's many across the world, but there's a large one at the center of the world. It's the biggest one, and everyone across the world will be able to see at least some portion of it. Why? Because the Earth is not a big, fat, round ball flying and wobbling through uncharted territory, through unknown space, following a giant fireball in negative 400 degrees Fahrenheit space. Okay? Because if you had one light shooting up into the heavens, no one around that ball would be able to all see it at the same time. Okay? So that means that the Earth has a different shape to it. But that's my cosmology. I'm not trying to push that on you. I'm just saying it's reasonable to me, given that cosmology, that there could be a light that stretches so high up into the sky that everyone on Earth would see it and be witness to some portion of that light. Anyways, I don't want to go on too much about the Flying Purple People Eater. Let's talk about Prince, the artist, or the artist formerly known as Prince or whatever, right? The musician. He has a song called Purple Rain. Now, is it rain that's coming down? Yes, because there's a tempest. When you have the world's largest low pressure system, then you will have clouds all over the place, and you will have a very wet atmosphere, as we just talked about, and you will have that atmosphere turning purple, and you'll have purple rain. Okay, it's also a play on words for the word reign, as in to rule, just like in the lyrics to Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, right? He says, Black Hole Sun, which is the dome in the sky, that apex dome opening up, that would be the black hole in the sky, and it has its own color to it. Okay, that's Nibiru. It's the planet of the crossing. It's Saturn in antiquity. It's Jupiter sometimes. That's the black hole sun. It's literally a hole in the firmament. Okay. He says, Black Hole Sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? wash away all of the system as it is today. Wash away all of the rulers and the nobilities and the powers and princes of this world, the presidents, etc. Wash them all away, because the system will be completely broken when we have this worldwide tempest come into our world. Prince talked about this. He referenced it in his music. I don't believe that these artists write their own songs. I think they might have started out that way, but they signed this deal with the devil, which is the deal with the man, and they're given songs to perform and to sing, and they're told you can sing them however you want to, but here's your lyrics. And they're disclosing to us the truths of antiquity, and we just dance and we just nod our head to the beat, and we don't recognize the truth for what's being told to us. So he says, I never meant to cause you any sorrow. I never meant to cause you any pain. I only wanted one time to see you laughing in the purple rain. People laugh because of the gases that ease up from the earth. If you have nitrogen or nitrous oxide rising up from the earth, when that nitrogen and oxygen combine, you're going to have huge gas pockets that are going to float over entire cities. And people breathing in nitrous oxide, guess what they're going to do? Laugh. That's what the dentist gives you. He puts that mask on you before he works. They call that laughing gas. Prince says, I want to see you laughing in the purple rain. This is why the Joker on the Batman movies, he laughs and he wears purple. It's the same concept, same symbolism. So he says, I want to see you laughing in the purple rain. He doesn't want to cause you pain. Now, another thing that nitrous oxide does is it numbs the pain. So it's appropriate that during a time when people are going to be very frightened, probably get hurt and stuff, Mother Nature is providing a way for you not to feel any pain during a time when a lot of people are probably going to feel pain. And everyone's going to be laughing at the end of the world because many people are going to basically be high from these gases. They're going to be affected by these gases. So he says, I don't want you to feel pain. I want you to laugh in the purple rain. I want to see you bathing in the purple rain. I never wanted to be your weekend lover. I only wanted to be some kind of friend. Hey, baby, I could never steal you from another. It's such a shame our friendship had to end. This is not, like so many songs out there, this is not a love song. This is not him writing to his boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever he's into. Okay, this is not a song about one human to another. Just like Stand By Me. The song Stand By Me is all about the apocalypse. You know what I mean? We get lost in the melody and the tune and the beat and all that stuff. We stop listening to the lyrics. This is all about the apex dome, the portion of the firmament above us singing as if it's singing a love song to us, humanity. And he's saying, I'm only here temporarily. Okay, this event that happens is a temporary event. It lasts about a week. This is the 1 week of creation. He goes on in verse 3 to say, honey, I know times are changing. It's time we all reach out for something new. That means you too. You say you want a leader, but you can't seem to make up your mind. So hold on. Times are changing. This song is about a shift in time, a major shift that makes the sky full of a low pressure system that brings in rain and makes it turn colors and changes the sky to a purple color. He's telling you through story form what has happened in antiquity, and by extension, what you can expect to happen right around the corner. This will happen again. Everything I've just covered. I know times are changing. It's time we all reach out for something new. This is the new age that is coming, okay? You live in a one world order right now. That order is going to turn into chaos. It will be broken. This system that we live in will be broken by nature, by God, by divine intervention, however you want to see it, but it will lead us to something better if you're not a fan of the way things are today. I'm not, okay? I believe we are living in dystopia. We live in 1984. We live at the end of times. And he's talking about how you say you want a leader, but you can't make up your mind. Let me guide you to the purple rain. That purple glow in the sky, that original North Polar Star, or the age of Saturn, or the age of Kronos, or Jupiter, or Zeus, or whatever, this is going to be your new leader, your new way, your new leadership. There'll be a totally different way of life. And it's not the devil, it's not God, it's not any of these things. It's just a shift. an energy. It's an energetic shift in our world, and it's going to lead people's hearts. It's going to change people's minds. Everything will be flipped upside down. You hear a lot of YouTubers saying, something happened and this changes everything. No, it fucking doesn't. Excuse my language. I'm so sorry. I'm like getting really hyped up right now. The apocalypse is the thing that changes everything. They're using that as a clickbait type of a title so that you watch their video, because subconsciously you need to know about the event that changes everything truly. And that's what you're watching here on my channel. And that's what you're reading about in my books. And that's what you're seeing on all my other different social medias. I'm focusing on and talking about the actual event that literally physically does and will and has changed everything. All right, so last verse, he says, if you know what I'm singing about up here, come on, raise your hand. I do. I only want to see you in the purple rain. So he's saying this is a mystery. This is a riddle. If you guys understand it, let me know. Right? It's obviously, he's not going to ask you, hey, do you guys understand my song? When it's as simple as, I'm saying it's from a lover. It's from one guy to his girlfriend, or a husband to wife, or whatever. He wouldn't ask, do you understand what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. You know what I mean? If it was that simple. It's not that simple. All right, so we've talked about the one-eyed flying purple people eater. We referenced the spaghetti monster. I have a whole video about that. We've talked about Prince and the Purple Rain. We've talked about Troy D. McLaughlin's books and his Saturn Death Cult website that is no longer available, by the way, for mysterious reasons. I don't know why, but you cannot go to that website anymore. It used to be called SaturnDeathCult.com. It's gone. It's wiped off the internet. This kind of information is going to very quickly become the most important and sought after information on the internet. And it will be very few and far between. It'll be hard to come by. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. If what I'm saying is true, if any portion of what I'm saying is true, if there is any substance to the theories that I'm giving to you, and the science behind it, and the mechanisms, and the history, and the mythology, and the religions, and all of these things, if there's any truth to it, and that this is the secret of the Freemasons, this is the secret of the Illuminati, this is why they want you to think that it's so important for them to build a ballroom for $1 billion next to the White House, when we all know they're building a bunker. A doomsday bunker. And it's not just the president of the United States. It is royalty across the world. It is the super rich. It is the mega elite across the world, all preparing for this event that will change the color of the sky, that will return us to an age that has long been forgotten about. Some of us are waking up. Some of us are realizing and putting the ancient fractured puzzle pieces together to see the bigger picture of what we've already been through, so that we can be better equipped and better prepared for what is on the way. A couple of you guys have gone to my website, and recently, next week, I'll be meeting up with you for video conferences. Some people like to talk to me about these theories. Some people like to ask me about survival tips and stuff. If you're interested in something like that, go to JayDreamerZ.com. and go to my book section, and you can see how to get yourself a video conference with me, so we can talk about whatever it is that you're curious about or interested in, and you can have your own private one-on-one session with me. If you would like to support my work, go to my Patreon. On my Patreon, by the end of summer, I'm going to release my new episodes of my brand new series called Chasing the Apocalypse, where I go around the world finding the evidence for these theories, showing you in person, boots on the ground, hands on the artifacts, and doing the research right there, and recording all of it professionally so that you guys can come with me on my adventures. Check out chasingtheapocalypse.com if you want to get in on the early action and unlock all the episodes before anybody else. Get some merch and some gift baskets and other things too. And I think that's all that I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
In a time when an ancient cataclysm is about to return, one book holds the key to unlocking the biggest secret in all of history. JayDreamerZ presents Ancient Oblivion, the Plasma Apocalypse. Study it, and you'll discover the very real details behind the reoccurring event that resets civilizations and reshapes the entire world. Bridging the gap between fiction and fact, this book is a must-have for all truth seekers. Then in his second book, you'll learn about the one place of refuge from this world storm. You'll explore the ends of the earth, find the fountain of youth, and envision yourself enveloped in the vapor canopy. In Ancient Oblivion, Return to Hyperborea, available now. Order direct from JayDreamerZ and receive your very own autographed copy. Go to JayDreamerZ.com for more information on our Ancient Oblivion and the Plasma Apocalypse, and sign up for a free 24-hour cram session with a complimentary day pass. The end is near, so order now before it's too late.